And as those cells die off and become less functional, we have another smaller group of cells called stem cells. And Dr. Newman talked a lot about that. He showed you what can happen, the potential, the regenerative potential of those cells. Now, stem cells are mostly in our bone marrow, but also floating through our body. Okay? And one of the secrets to aging well is to maintain those stem cells, not only in number, but their function. Okay? And the most recent research has shown that if we have a problem in repairing this damage, it not only affects our body cells, but it affects our stem cells, which means they can't make new copies to replace the worn-out body cell. Okay. Stem cells, DNA, and telomeres. Okay, so where are we today? And we now know there's no such thing as just one approach that's going to be optimal for the aging process. We finally put together the pieces into what we call a system, and we finally have a product that actually includes and focuses on all these things at once. Okay? And our goal is not just to maintain our body cells healthy, but our stem cells healthy, and the DNA that resides in both of those groups of cells. Okay, so what happens to that DNA is we not only get damage to the DNA, where it breaks like we saw in the video, but we also get segments of that DNA that actually get removed and replaced with faulty copies of DNA from other parts of the cell. We actually have a number of things that happen, and it's not just the breaks, but it's a mix-up of the genetic messages, virtually like having your computer program kind of get mixed up with other programs, where when you go to hit the program, you can't really see what's happening. One of the most important areas of damage to our cells has to do with our telomeres. And you go to make a copy of your cell. At 30 years old, you make a perfect copy. The information, the genetic information, is passed on to each cell, and you stay very healthy. At about 60, you start to get damage to that DNA, and the genetic information in that cell cannot be copied optimally, so that you're making good copies of those cells that are functioning optimally. So you start to see what happens if that damage accumulates. Now, when you're in your 90s, there is so much damage inside those cells that cell either is going to turn into cancer, or it's going to go into a state where it really doesn't function anymore and just drains your body of energy. So, again, trying to show you how important this whole concept of limiting the damage to your DNA and keeping your genes healthy is really one of the key focuses that we're doing here with our product design and development in Jeunesse. Biotechnology. Well, biotechnology in the areas we're talking about, telomeres, DNA, genetics, stem cells, has been doubling every 3 years, but that's not where we are now. We are at the point of the curve right now where it's doubling every 4 months. So what does that mean? That means the area that we're looking at is really the cutting edge of research in both wellness and life sciences and keeping ourselves healthy. And these are the areas. It's about DNA, it's about telomeres, it's about calorie restriction, and it's about stem cells. Okay. So, after all of this, my job over the last 5 or 6 years was to really look at the science. What can we apply to us today so we can take advantage of this technology that is here, that is founded in science, not science fiction? And how does this work together? Because as we know, there is no single magic one compound that's going to help us live to our full potential. So we now know that at the level of the cell, if we look at what happens with people who are calorie restricted, we know that DNA repair is improved. We know those other things we talked about, blood sugar control, free radicals, inflammation, heart health is markedly improved. Then we take the latest cutting-edge science and the products and ingredients we know already have impacted human cells and lives and put them together in a system so that we're not just impacting one thing, but we're going to be working on the body in all 4 of these areas. And we've come up with a product that actually has been tested in a number of ways in humans with remarkable results. Today, the new systems aging model is really the basis of product development that we'll be using at Jeunesse. And in front of you are a remarkable group of products that impact each one of these areas. The key component that I was, as a plastic surgeon, I was looking at was what do we do to really help our skin stay youthful, okay? And I was looking at how do we improve the aging process from the outside in. The Luminesse Advanced Night Repair is a DNA repair product that not only repairs the damage to the DNA inside our cells, but inside the mitochondria, which are the energy-producing components of the cell. It also has a number of key antioxidants that work to inhibit free radicals and undo the damage that the sun creates on a day-to-day basis. Now, that product we have been using for a number of years. You're watching the damage not only disappear, but the body is healing that damage. When the DNA is healed, the cell can make more collagen, more hyaluronic acid. The skin looks better. Okay? Over the course of 6 months, improvement in the face in general, people remarked that they saw a very noticeable improvement in 93.5% of the people who used our products. 94.7% saw improvement in skin color. Now let me stop here for a minute, because in certain populations, in the Latin population, in the Asian population, one of the biggest kind of genetic responses to sun and aging are age spots. So we get age spots due to not just solar damage, but to the genetic kind of backup that occurs as we age. One of the most effective, and this is an all-natural compound, this is one of the most effective products I've ever seen to blend out these discolorations. So I'm going to give you an idea. Just one patient. So what do I do each day? Well, I look at the power of stem cells, and instead of doing surgery on everybody, this is a lady on the left who is about 69 years old, who had had a facelift, came to me, and I said to her, we're going to transplant your stem cells. We're then going to treat you with a topical DNA repair compound to help improve your skin. And I see a lot of people in their late 40s, early 50s who don't want surgery, but would like to know how can we improve their appearance without any big surgery. So the bottom line is what we can do today. That's the same lady at 74, and that's the same lady with no surgery a year later at 50. Now, they've had stem cells transplanted, again, to give you an idea of the power, just like Dr. Newman did, of cell transplants, but they've also been using the advanced night repair to continue to restore the surface of their skin. So it's really the stem cells and the DNA repair components working together. So if we take a look now at where are we with the products that we are now offering, Reserve. Remember we talked about the ancient Greeks. Well, for somehow they knew that red wine was healthy. Now, we now know that red wine contains resveratrol. What is resveratrol? Now, resveratrol is an interesting compound that not only is a very strong antioxidant, it actually impacts certain genes that mimic calorie restriction. Interesting. The most recent piece of research shows that resveratrol actually helps stimulate and maintain your telomere length. Very interesting. So not only is resveratrol one of the key products here with Jeunesse, but within the product itself are other key antioxidants from all natural fruits that work synergistically with the resveratrol to impact each one of the systems we're looking at. So this is a phenomenal product, particularly because it's so easy to take and it's in a gel form. And this is something that impacts directly the model we're looking at and the science behind healthy aging. The AMPM Neutrogene product has been a research in progress over the last 10 years. This product is, if you will, the final outcome of all of the research to date. It includes 72 separate ingredients in 5 categories. DNA repair compounds that focus on one of the most important aspects of keeping ourselves healthy, repairing the damage. Okay, and it repairs not only single-strand breaks to the DNA, but double-strand breaks and other types of things that help or that actually aid in damaging DNA. This is an extremely important complex of over 7 ingredients. The second complex inside Neutrogene is a stem cell maintenance compound, a compound that helps maintain both the number and the quality of those stem cells so they can make more accurate copies of themselves. The next complex are compounds that actually interact at the genetic level to help those genes inside each one of your cells move closer to a calorie restriction profile. And if you look at the monkeys up top, okay, the one on the left was been fed a regular diet, the one on the right is a calorie restricted diet. Kind of an interesting effect, because the genes in that monkey are 99.5% identical to the genes in everyone in this room. So that's pretty close, okay? The NIH published a study 2 years ago, and it's also in my book, The Gene Makeover, where they looked at the effects of calorie restriction in humans after a year. And guess what? They found the same groups of genes positively impacted that we're directing all our supplements at with this particular complex. Okay, lastly, as each one of our cells make a copy, remember we talked about those stem cells have to make a copy of the regular cells? The little end of your chromosome shortens, and once it hits a certain length, it sends a signal to that cell to stop dividing, and you start to lose your muscle mass, you start to lose your immune function, and that little cap on the end of that cell is called a telomere. The latest advances in science show that there are a number of compounds, natural occurring compounds, that can help protect that telomere, help maintain the length of that telomere, and even help it function more optimally as far as the key ingredients it makes, so that this cell can make longer and better copies of itself. Okay, so what did we look at? In 2 independent studies with over 200 people in the last 5 years, we looked at how did these people respond to this unique groupings of natural compounds. The interesting thing was over 70% of these people felt their mental function, clarity, and memory was dramatically better. Their body composition got better. That is, they lost body fat, but not muscle mass. Their sleep function was dramatically better. And I think one of the most important things that we need to do as we get older is to sleep, because most of cellular repair occurs while we're sleeping. And most people, as they get older, don't sleep well. So we noticed these were the things that we saw immediately. Now, over time, people's immune system got better. They got sick less often. They noticed they had better ability to digest their food because the other components in our Nutrigene have very, very effective digestive enzymes. So we can get more nutritional value out of the foods we eat. Okay. So when we start to look at this, what do we have today that's so exciting that no other company has even thought about doing? We have a system where we actually can improve the aging process from the inside out by using both Reserve and Nutrigene. We're restoring and repairing the damage in every one of those 100 trillion cells from the inside out. What do you see? If you did nothing else, better skin, better body composition, more energy, and an improved quality of life. From the outside in, what do we see? We repair not only the DNA and the surface of those skin cells, but here's where the synergy occurs. The creams and the serums that Dr. Newman has devised and shown work dramatically, growth factors work even better. If your DNA is in better shape, the growth factors, the communication or signals from those growth factors will work better on the cells that have less DNA damage. So together, what Dr. Newman's focus in research, our focus on DNA repair together will create even a more effective system when we use the growth factors and our advanced night repair together. So what do we have here? We have a unique approach that no other company anywhere has thought about doing. It's focusing on the aging process. Okay, from the cell to the whole body, from the skin inward, from the body outward, and without a question, I think we have to go back to the very beginning when we started talking about aging. It's a truth that aging is inevitable. There's no question. Okay? It's a myth that there's nothing we can do about it. And it's a fact that the science and products are here now from Jeunesse to really make a difference. Okay? Now, when you leave here as different people. You leave here as ambassadors of health, the ability to change other people's lives, the quality of their lives, and you bring to them the latest information on optimal aging and youthful health. Thank you.